Welcome back. This is actually taking off from our last tutorial where we did a landscape or a terrain in Unity. But this is also helpful for anybody that needs to make a web player version of their game. So once you have your game ready, all you have to do to make a web player version is to follow these steps. Alright, so we're here in Unity. And whenever you make your game for any platform, it's called building your game, right? So we're going to go to File, Build Settings. And this will open up your Build Settings window. And you'll notice here you see Scenes in Build, and there's nothing there. Right? So you need to make sure you add, if you add the current, that will just put the scene that you're working on in the list. If you have multiple scenes or levels, you can drag them into this list in the order you want them, and they will be indexed over here. Right? You'll see the platform panel here, and you'll see all the different platforms that you can build to. We want to make sure that web player is selected. Once you've done that, click on Player Settings. At this point, your player settings will open up in the inspector. Feel free to name your company if you want to. All right. Your product name you can name here. You can even create default icons for these. This is not necessary for our purposes. The main things you want to look for are the default screen width and maybe change the background color. I like the black background, so I do that. And I also like the run line at 7. That's the size of an iPad 2. And I do a lot of development on mobile, so I like to have it that size. And that's about all you need there. Just make sure you have a scene, and then you're going to click Build. Now this is the most important part, and this is different slightly in Mac and PC. Okay, on a Mac, the name you give it here, Save As, right? In the Save As box, Mac will create a folder for you. As you see here, I've already done this once. So I'm going to call this Terrain 2. It will create a folder for you, Mac will. PC, though, you're going to want to, first, inside your project folder, you want to create a builds folder. Right? So if you don't already have that, create new folder and builds. Right? I've already done that, so it says this name is already taken, so I'm not actually going to do that. But you want to put all your builds inside a builds folder. Make sure this isn't in your assets folder because that can cause some really quirky things later on. Right? So create a builds folder, and then you're going to, on a Mac, you're going to say Save As. On a PC, you're going to want to create a new folder inside here, and then you'll name it last name, first initial, terrain, right? Because on a PC, the folder is the build folder that you create, right? If you don't give it a folder, it will put it inside of your project, which is really screwy, and I don't know why the PC version does that, but it does. So make sure that you give it a folder name. You create a new folder, definitely on PC, because otherwise it will stick it in your asset folder more than likely, and that's why when in my programming class I get a lot of builds that are asset folders, which is kind of problematic. Alright, so we're going to put it in a builds folder. I've named it here. I'm going to save it. and then it should build out and it should open the folder up for me. Okay, and here you have it, right? Once the web player is built, you will see in your folder, you should see a HTML file, right, and a Unity 3D file. This is not a Unity file, right? It's Unity 3D. If it just says .unity, then that's one of the scene files, and that won't run in a browser, right? So now what you can do is you can either double click on that and open it in your default browser, or you can drag this HTML to whatever browser you want to drop it in, and it'll open right up. And please do this before you send this to me, right? Because if you don't test your game or your project, and then I get it and there's nothing there, I can't grade nothing, right? So you want to always run it and make sure that you can, in fact, do what you expected to do, right? So now we're running around in the browser, which is awesome. There we go. Alright. Alright, so once you've done that, of course, you're going to, before you send it to me, you're going to come here and right click on it. On Mac, you just compress it, right? On Windows, you right click and send to and compressed, right? Make sure it's a zip file. I don't want 7-zip. I don't want RAR, R-A-R files. I want zip files. Only zip files. I won't accept anything else. I'll ask you to resubmit if you send it anything else. Your folder should just have these 2 files in it for now. When you get the programming class, I ask for your C# files as well, but you're not there yet. Alright, so that's how you create a web player and upload it to me. Alright, and that's all there is to it. I will see you next time.